This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire.
Whoa, that's good.
This might be the drink of the summer.
Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it, okay?
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
Kessié, Sangare. Bay! It's a brilliant finish! A wonderful strike! And that is that. Ivory Coast advance to the knockout phase for the first time. Nicolas Pepe with a double for Curaçao. It's been a pleasure having you.
Under the crossbar. And it's been deflected in as well. They've got the goal. It's Plata. How big is that for Ecuador? The final whistle goes here and Ecuador are into the round of 32. Back from the brink. An act of escapology.
23 or so yards away. Floated in. Headed down as a pass. And now the Dutch have scored. Third goal for Brian Bobby. And the Netherlands have the 2-goal lead. The Netherlands with a 3-1 win over Tunisia. It is time for us to go to another game in Dallas. We go to Japan, Sweden.
As well by Seiko. It goes instead to Doan. Ueda. Doan's pass. Maeda for Japan. 1-0. Brilliant football. Great goal. Lucy Langa. Langa shot. Oh, brilliant. Wonderful goal from Anthony Elanga to light up this stadium. Group F is complete. 1-1 here in Arlington. It means that the Netherlands win the group, having won their match in Kansas City, and they avoid Brazil and play Morocco. Japan are going to go to Houston and play Brazil, and Sweden are through as well.
So it ends 0-0, which means Australia progress as Group D runners-up. Paraguay should be heading through to the last 32 as well.
The long throw. Man down for the U.S. Ball's knocked down. Follow-up shot is a goal! It's Sebastian Berhalter, who ties the game, and he wants more. Chance for a cross, comes back to the top of the box. Now it's clipped in at the backside. Matt Turner, it's stacked home. Turkiye scored the winning goal in the 98th minute.
Well, for the U.S., that's a bit of a gut punch. It doesn't change anything in the grand scheme.
Live from New York. It's the show that is a little unsatisfied with that loss. You think? I was okay with a tie, a draw. It's midnight-ish. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you know what? This feels like a draw. Next thing you know, we lost.
Yeah. And it's a reminder, in a sport where 5 goals total between the two teams is a very high-scoring game, how thin the margins and moments are as we get ready for the knockout round.
As is life.
Well, there's more than 5 scoring chances in life, I would hope.
Not sometimes, though.
Not something.
Get married.
You know what?
One shot.
You get divorced. Okay. Today, Team USA loses. Pulisic plays. Where is our confidence meter in him and the team
man.
going into the knockout round? Meanwhile, new coach, new system, new Lamar. And Ravens players are saying this version could be better than ever.
Wow.
And finally, a delicious early edition of Title Pie. We do have a pie. It had a sign on it upstairs that said, do not eat. Wow. It is a prop on the show.
Is it a real pie?
I had a slice anyways.
Really?
Yeah, I had a France-sized slice. It's content.
Can we also tell the audience? We're back here live at 5 o'clock today.
Back here live at 5.
Right after France-Norway ends and Iraq-Senegal ends, we are back here live.
Back here live.
That's
giving
right.
coverage.
A
Same
double
outfits.
dose.
Yes.
Thought about getting a haircut.
Bruce going to look even better with it'll be a 10 o'clock
Bruce
shadow.
has a 5 o'clock
He
shadow.
looks resplendent.
Nick loves the
I
five
do.
o'clock.
I think
I
he
might
looks
bring back
younger.
the full beard.
No, don't
Like,
Bruce. That's
that.
my
like
corner.
wild
I like
no,
for the fall.
Not the full beard. Then we got to
Starting in
take
LA.
pictures again.
Looking forward and back, Team USA loses to Turkiye on a last-second goal to zap some momentum from the squad. Pulisic came off the bench, looked lively until he got nutmegged, which led to the game-losing goal. That was great. Our round of 32 match was already set in stone against Bosnia-Herzegovina. So Zlatan was asked if this loss even mattered. Here's what he said.
It doesn't matter, because now starts the real deal against Bosnia of Herzegovina. Now if you win, you go through. If you lose, you're out. In the group stage, you can afford to lose one game. But this game was more about putting those legs that didn't play so far and get them some minutes. The result will not change nothing. They're gonna keep going. It's going to be a different game against Bosnia and Herzegovina, and that's the real deal. This doesn't change nothing.
Okay. Do you agree with Zlatan?
Kind of. This is very typical for power countries in the World Cup, that if they have locked the group by going into the third group stage game, that they play a bunch of reserves and often lose that third group stage game. It happened last year, or last World Cup happened to Brazil. I believe it happened to France. It's
Germany lost.
It is Germany. It happened literally to
bench,
Germany.
But they played their guys, though.
Germany? Yeah. Germany ended up subbing some guys out, but they started with their guys. And so it is unfamiliar territory for the U.S. men's national team because we've never clinched a group through 2 games to been in a position where it's a truly meaningless game. And so maybe that's why it didn't feel meaningless to me. And when we see our friend of the show, Berhalter, score the goal to tie it and then do something you don't often see in soccer, which is when guys grab the ball and run back, that's usually after a goal. That's usually if you score and you're still trailing.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we got to hurry and got to go. He did it after tying the game because it was very clear they wanted to win. And I think by the time we got to the 90th minute, they weren't really pressing forward. They were okay with the fact that, okay,
it felt like
we're going to get a draw.
It felt like the perfect game to draw.
Exactly. And so it does feel a little, stomach punch is too strong, but right after it happened, I was like, oh, that sucked.
Yes.
In the moment, it's like all of a sudden it's 12:05 a.m. and I'm like, we lost. I don't think it has real long-term effects, and I do think Pochettino is going to maybe use it to his advantage to refocus the guys. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it is as meaning. Zlatan is coming from a perspective of it didn't matter at all. I don't agree with that.
I'm totally with Zlatan. To me, it lines up exactly with what I said yesterday. What were the priorities in this game? Get out healthy. Get your yellow cards erased, which obviously they did because the 4 guys with yellows didn't play. Secondly, get Pulisic out there. I thought he played well. He did get nutmegged at the end. It happens. Well. It's like getting dunked on in the NBA. I mean, it happens to the best of them. But he looked lively. He looked energetic. He looked quick. I saw no sign of the injury. You saw an immediate change in the game when he got in. Yeah, he didn't score a goal. He got some great shots. I thought he looked really good, and there was a marked difference in the way we looked once he got in the game. So I thought that was encouraging. And then here's the thing: we lost. We wanted to at least draw, but we played who many people thought, Nick, or at least some people thought, Turkiye might win this group.
Yes, absolutely.
Many people thought if they weren't the best team in the group, they were second best. And a lot of people still think that. Mm-hmm. Because you can argue that they outplayed Paraguay and Australia in their losses. It's kind of flukish things. They ended up losing. But that was a good team. It's a top 30 ranked team in the world. And we almost beat them with our subs.
Correct.
That's the thing. We had our we started 9 new players. And so if the Knicks played, the Detroit Pistons or the Celtics and Miles McBride and Jose Alvarado and Mitchell Robinson were starting and we almost beat them, I wouldn't feel bad about that. And I do agree with you, Nick, that I think Pochettino will use this. And I just think it's a natural, I don't want to say wake-up call, but we're a team, to your point earlier, that's not been in this position of winning the first 2 games and looking like an actual contender. And a team like that, sometimes you can get a little ahead of it. Maybe you get a little big-headed. I'm not saying they have, but if that were lingering, this brings you back to earth like, hey, we're not like, we looked head and shoulders above everybody in the first 2 games. This kind of could bring us back to earth. So I think it could be a good sobering moment as well. So I'm fine with it.
Literally the most goals we've ever scored in a World Cup have happened this group stage already. So we've had 8 goals over 3 games. Our second highest was 2002, 7 goals in 5 games. And, of course, 1930. We had 7 goals. Bert was out there scoring. It felt to me a little Week 18 NFL-ish, like, all right, we're going to get ready for the playoffs. If we lose the game, so be it. At the same time, we did all come on yesterday and said we believe in momentum. Momentum's a real thing. So the fact that it didn't go our way, we can't be like, actually, good loss.
No, I don't think it's – that's what I'm saying. I don't think it – and I also think it's the way the game was played made the loss sting a little more. The fact that they scored 2 minutes into the game, and then to me,
I thought we were going cruise.
Yes, lost level of concentration, and then a couple minutes into the second half, tied it back up. Then Pulisic's on. We have 3 legitimate, excellent goal-scoring chances. Like, man, we might come back from 2-1 down to just win outright, and then settles into, okay, we're going to get a draw. We'll still be undefeated in the group, and then bam, right at the death, we lose. That does feel a little different. I do go.
I'm going to show you Pochettino's reaction to the final goal. Thought it was an interesting juxtaposition just to sort of get his viewpoint. Again, I am a certified body language expert. There it is, like, you know what? Not great.
Doesn't care.
/ not the end of the world. I thought that he catched, like, this move.
Yep.
When I do that, like, not great, not the end of the world.
I do want to say one thing, that this game, to me, again, it's a little unfair, and I'm sure it's small sample size, but confirmed he got right. There was a big discussion going into the tournament. Who was our goalkeeper going to be?
Oh, yeah.
Tough one.
And at this, again, like I said, it's small sample. He doesn't have all the.
I wouldn't mind if I was him and Turkiye was peppering shot, and without Chris Richards, like, our defense did not look good.
I get that, and I also think that it's going to. We're going to have to in the knockout rounds. Probably going to need to score 3 goals against if we get to the quarters to win that game, because I think the defense, even with Freeze in goal, is the weaker of the two. The defense versus offense.
Right.
I know that's not how it works, but the attacking players versus the defending players. But I do feel like they got it right, that Freeze was the best option at keeper over Turner, and so I do like that.
We'll have Dax coming up. Part of me wonders if we should have gotten Freeze more action. Kept him in this game. Like McKinney played, it's like when it's not like we benched everybody. This was.
I think they did want to get Matt Turner some action in case Freeze gets hurt. Well, you don't want him.
Now
to
he's zapped of confidence.
Yeah, well, that part's probably
did not work. All right, round of 32. USA will play Bosnia-Herzegovina Wednesday, July 1st in San Francisco, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Bosnia-Herzegovina's path. They drew with Canada. Canada's not that good. Lost to Switzerland, then beat Qatar. Nick, what are your expectations for the round of 32 for the Team USA?
Every single great feeling we've had about this team up to this moment, if they lose this game, not only goes away, but it becomes the 2026 World Cup becomes a black mark on the U.S. men's national team's resume. You can't lose this game.
A failure.
An absolute failure.
Yeah.
And my expectations are they are going to win, and I think it will look very similarly to the Paraguay or Australia game, where they score early and control the game. But I don't know if folks have fully realized how fortunate of our group winner getting this team in the round of 32 actually is. There are going to be 32 teams in the round of 32. They will either be the lowest ranked or the second lowest ranked team. They could be third lowest ranked of the 32 if Cape Verde also makes it. That's it. They are not in the top 60. The United States is in a position to where they could make the quarterfinals, and up to that point have not played a single top 20 team in the world. There is not another team who could make the quarterfinals without having to go through a top 20 team, either in its group or in its path in the quarterfinals. We were fortunate. You get a little extra bonus when you're a host country. You get to be a pot 1 team. We then got a little lucky that our European pick team, was Turkiye and not one of the more traditional European powers. We then got very fortunate that Bosnia ended up being where it is, and that it looks like Belgium is a mess. And in the round of 16, you're looking at South Korea or Egypt. They must not only win this game, but win it decisively if you're going to believe that they are going to be able to go on the run that I think they can go on. So those are my expectations. Something like a 3-1 victory that they win, that they are up 2-0 at halftime.
Well, if we win, it'll be our first victory over a European country in 13 matches.
Yeah.
So, and I expect us to win. I'm just throwing that out there. The last European team we beat was actually Bosnia. But I'm like Nick, I do expect to win. I agree, Nick, that if we lose this, it'll be an abject failure. This World Cup will feel very negative,
yes.
Rather than all the positive vibes going out, which again, I don't mind coming off a loss.
Like it.
I think their antennas are going to be completely up for whoever we're playing. Obviously, we're playing Bosnia, but even if they're a lower ranked team. And the thing is, too, Bosnia, this is only their second time in the World Cup. They're just happy to be here. I mean, literally, their coach said, this is a bonus for us. Like, they haven't been here. Them
advancing was the win.
Yeah.
If they lost, successful.
Exactly. So I don't think they're that confident, Bosnia. We should be overriding with confidence, but not overconfident coming off the loss. So I expect us to win. And if we don't, it will be a huge failure.
One thing before we get to title pie. Dusty, can you show the set pieces graphic that Josh made? Most set piece goals in this World Cup. We've got 3. Bosnia-Herzegovina has 3. Netherlands have 3. So something to keep your eye on. Set pieces are great for us, and it's going to be traditionally how Bosnia-Herzegovina.
And they're the team that kept Italy out of the tournament. They took Italy's spot. So I'm not acting like it's an impossibility for them to upset the U.S. I'm also not going to sugarcoat the fact that if they upset the U.S., it's an utter and total catastrophe for the U.S. men's national.
All right, France-Norway coming up today at 3 o'clock from Boston on Fox. Both have advanced to the next round. Haaland and Mbappe both have scored 4 goals this World Cup. And if you look at club and country, stats are very similar. 61 games, 55 goals for Haaland. Mbappe, 54 games, 52 goals. In this World Cup, both players have taken 40% of their team shots, but what percent will they have of title pie? Let's find out today.
Wow.
In title pie.
I got to be honest, I got nervous there. I was like, are we about to do a France-Norway preview right now? No. That was great. That was so, but that was perfect because this pie is, as you'll see, assuming France takes care of business later today. But we are on right after the game with an updated title pie in case they don't. So it is a fluid pie.
Oh, wow.
Let's go to the less than 1%, but they get to be on the pie. Sweden, Ivory Coast, Senegal, which needs to win to advance. Ghana, Croatia, Egypt, Canada. They don't get on the pie, but we're not giving them 0%. Now, to 1%ers. Only one of them, Belgium. And see if you can tell throughout this pie which teams I have a little extra vitriol for because they cost me money.
Gotcha.
Speaking of Belgium, horrendous performance on Father's Day. What an awful draw against Iran. And if they don't beat New Zealand, they just go home. They're at 1%. 2%, Switzerland. They won their group. It was the easiest group. And now they get to stay in Vancouver for the round of 32 and the round of 16. But both games, they don't have to travel if they win the round of 32 game. They took the path that they tried to give to Canada, but Canada lost. Also 2%, Japan. 2 solid draws against Sweden and the Netherlands. In my opinion, I know it's a controversial opinion these days, they have a brutal round 32 first knockout game against Brazil. So I think they are better than a 2% team, but I think they have a almost impossible round of 32 game. 3%, Colombia. Now, I'm going to be at their game against Portugal. If they can get a draw or a victory, then they're in great shape because they get the winners part of that bracket. But if not, then all of a sudden their round of 32 game is Spain. So if they lose to Portugal this weekend, then
you do not want to play Spain.
You don't want to play Spain in the round of 32. Also 3%, Netherlands. Just brutally unlucky the moment the draw came out. Where Netherlands like, oh, okay, so let's win our group. That'll be good. We should do that. And then what's going to happen? Who are we going to face? Actually, whether we come in first or second in our group. Oh, we're going to play Morocco or Brazil. Yeah. Either way, it was just brutal. I think they deserve better, but it is what it is. That's why they're only 3%. 4%, listen, Mexico, you can say they had an easy group, but they were perfect. 6 goals scored, 0 allowed, and we are setting up for them playing in Mexico City, England, in the round of 16. Keep in mind, for Mexico, 7 of the last 8 World Cups, they have been knocked out in the round of 16. More on that game in a moment. 4% for now, Norway. They've looked good, but I don't think people paid enough attention to this. 93rd minute against Senegal. They're up 3-1. Senegal scores. That goal, they won the game anyway. Because of that goal, they now can only win the group by beating France today. Had they not allowed that 93rd minute goal, they could tie France and win the group. So it changes it entirely for them because they are likely not going to win the group. Their first round will be against Ivory Coast, which is a good team, and then the second round against those juggernauts in Brazil. More on them in a moment. 4%, Morocco. They've been awesome. They drew Brazil. They beat Scotland 1-0. I'm old enough to remember when Scotland was a tough team. Beat them 1-0 was good. They beat Haiti 4-2. Listen, everybody can't shut out Haiti. If they get through the Netherlands, which is the incredibly difficult round 1 match, which I think they will, then all of a sudden it's Canada or South Africa, and then waiting for them in the quarterfinals, France. They got a little get back ready for France. France beat them in the semifinals of the last World Cup. Again, all the quarterfinal matchups be hard, but of all the teams they could play, I bet they want to play France, who they lost to 4 years ago. Up to 6%, the USA. I know they lost yesterday, but keep in mind the last time we did Title Pie, they hadn't even played Australia yet. So they hadn't won their group yet. So they're up since then. They can be the only team to make the quarters without having to play a top 20 opponent, which Bosnia's not in the top 60, and Korea or Egypt are both outside of the top 20. 6%, Portugal. Now again, this is predicated on them beating Colombia. This is another thing I don't know if people have really clocked. If Portugal doesn't beat Colombia, they're staring at Spain in round 2, which is not what you want. If you do beat Colombia, you kind of have a smooth sail until Argentina in the quarterfinals. 7%, Germany. Now listen, they lost with backups. That's not why they're down. They're down because they are staring at France in round 2, which they obviously don't want, but there's nothing they can do about it. That's the draw they got. Down to 8%, England. Took Ghana lightly, so they got a draw. That's fine. They're going to win the group. They're going to beat Panama this weekend. But I want to talk about this round of 16 game that they are staring at in Mexico City against the hosts. A Mexico team that up to that point will have won 4 straight games. That is going to be the most electric World Cup environment since the 2002 semifinal in Korea, when South Korea in Seoul hosted Germany with the chance to go to the finals. Now, South Korea didn't win that game, but I cannot overstate how insane that environment is going to be for Mexico and El Tri against England in the round of 16. 9%, Spain. Probably fine. But again, something that has been totally underrated. They play Uruguay today, all right? If you beat Uruguay, you're great. If you get a draw against Uruguay, you're great. If somehow they lose to Uruguay tonight, do you know who Spain plays in the first round of this tournament? Argentina. So
I don't think Spain's afraid anyway.
No, but you.
But if they lose, if a game that they want to win because of that, if they lose to Uruguay, who has looked bad, and now all of a sudden it's Spain, Argentina in the round of 32.
Bring it on.
That's not what they're hoping for. 10%, Brazil. So unfairly maligned for reasons no one has explained. They won the only group with 2 top 10 teams in the world. They have arguably the single best manager in the tournament. They also have a great path. They are likely going to be playing England or Mexico right after that wildly emotional game. And you get through that, you're playing Argentina or Portugal right after their wildly emotional game. They have had the best defense in the tournament so far, and one of the guys who could win the Golden Boot. Up to 15%. France. This is, again, assuming they take care of business today against Norway, or else it is quite fluid. They have the most talent of anyone in the tournament. We've talked about them a ton. And steady, 16%. Argentina, up just a bit. They've got maybe somehow still the best player in the tournament. They haven't allowed a goal yet. I understand they haven't played great opposition yet, but the vibes meter, KW, I assume could not be higher.
Pretty high.
Higher. That is World Cup title pie.
Okay, not bad. I'm going to move the U.S. and Portugal ahead of Germany. Germany, like us, lost yesterday.
Yep.
However, they played their starters. You know, they started all their guys, unlike we did, so no excuse for that loss. And then I think Portugal, look, I think Ronaldo could have a couple turn back the clock moments. All right, he just
fair.
did. And so they look better. And then I think we really look good despite our loss with our subs. So I think we've played better than Germany.
I think that's fair. Maybe this is a little too much of the Vegas odds in me. If the U.S. played Germany, they would be significant underdogs. Maybe they shouldn't be, but you make a fair point. More importantly, KW, what do you think of the bar we put out there? Deutsch, you think Germany is still too high? I drop them beneath Portugal.
Again, that's Dusty.
I just can't. I can't do it anymore.
I'm not even claiming that.
Well, of course not.
KW.
Hopefully my bar just says straight up, France is a great team. What does it say?
We'll see.
Let's find out. Dusty, perfect job. Perfect job. France deserves a larger slice. Playing Norway today. Hopefully we win. Still waiting for, the story's been Mbappe, obviously. Still waiting for the big Dembele moment. Yeah. He is the Ballon d'Or, reigning Ballon d'Or champ. He's got 1 goal, 1 assist, but when you watch the games, you're like, oh, is that guy the best player in the world?
Yep.
He just hasn't had that moment. Little Josh mentioned, a little PSG-ish when Mbappe and Dembele are not.
Listen,
overshadows him a little bit.
And obviously, we know the French national team, big fans of the show.
Yeah.
Desiree Doué was watching yesterday during his training session. I personally think we are I think France is going to make its 3rd straight final. I think most people think in that final they're going to be playing Argentina. I think in that final they're going to be playing Brazil. But set that aside. I think France is. Go ahead. Go.
You want to keep going?
No, I was just going to say, I think France has an argument for the largest slice. I just think Argentina's played the best.
Final thing, and we're going to take this to break. This obviously, Holland was asked about his matchup up against France this game, and here's what he said. So I take his advice and his sort of wisdom very seriously. Let's listen to Erling Haaland.
Honestly, I don't care too much now. We're through. We managed to get through, which is incredible. So I couldn't care too much about that game now. They're probably going to win against us. They're probably going to win the whole tournament.
Thank you. There we go. just fantastic.
That's
okay,
enough for
we are
you.
counting. That's Title Pie. There will be an updated Title Pie at around 5:15, so stay tuned. Norway, France today at 3 from Boston. Again, France wins the group with a win or a draw. Norway wins with a win. Pretty straightforward. I like that.
Yes.
4 hours, 30 minutes, 35 seconds. Guess who's here next? Coach Mangini.
The excitement of the FIFA World Cup is now streaming live on Fox One, the official English streaming platform to catch every unforgettable moment. Fox One brings the action straight to your screen so you never miss a goal. Download Fox One and experience the FIFA World Cup live.
Welcome back to First Things First. 4 hours, 26 minutes till Erling Haaland takes the pitch in Boston, France-Norway. Norway ranked 31st in FIFA, France ranked 3rd, but both undefeated in this World Cup. Norway needs a win if they want to win the group. France can win with just a draw. Or look at that beautiful stadium, Coach. Boston.
Nice.
This is
Boston
home of
Stadium.
champions. But France is going to be there. All right, we're headed to American football. Mark Andrews spoke to CBS Sports while promoting regular eye exams. Good awareness. He's also shared what he's been seeing with Jesse Minter and Lamar. This is a different offense than we've been a part of since we got into the league. It's totally different than anything we've done. Rui says, I think that's a scary sight when you see Lamar Jackson adding new things to his repertoire. Andrew's very high on Lamar as another MVP on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it's definitely on the board. We'll see if he wins it. If Lamar Jackson is healthy, he's going to be in the MVP race. There's no question about it. That's what he does. Even last year, he started out on fire. I know the team wasn't winning, but he had 14 touchdowns, 1 interception in his first 5 games, and then the injury started to kick in. And even then, in a down season for him, because of the injuries in large part, look at his ranks in some of these categories. He still was, top 5, top 10 in virtually everything. Most of us think he didn't have a really good season, and yet he's top 5 in passer rating and yards per attempt and top 10 in TD interception. So I do think he'll have a big year. I know there's been a lot of talk about, we were going to do the topic of Declan Doyle, the new OC, jumping on the players and jumping on Lamar. I love that. Like, my problem with the Ravens over the last few years in these big playoff games has been lack of discipline. There's too many penalties. There's unsportsmanlike conduct. There's taunting at the wrong so many self-inflicted wounds, which I see as indicative of a culture that had gotten lax. And I think Doyle and Minter reportedly are bringing, more discipline and things like that. So I think that'll help them in those moments. My biggest question about Lamar is, will he get back to the running?
Correct.
And I don't think he has to, we don't want him to be what he was second year, 1,200 yards. But last year he had 350 yards. His lowest by a mile. He's usually around 700 yards at least. And so he averaged 23 yards a game rushing. Right. So I wonder, will he get back to that? I would imagine a little bit. Won't be just old school Lamar, but I imagine he'll be a little more mobile and won't have as many sacks because I want to see that cut down too.
Brew, I don't like this. I don't like this.
You had me, Coach.
And here's my thought process. So they're doing things that they haven't done since they've been in the league. Now you've got a guy who's won the MVP twice. He's been a finalist for the MVP, a third time?
Yes.
So you've got an incredible level of success with a guy doing things a certain way. So now you're going to come in and you're going to install your system that is radically different than the things that he does, with the expectation that he's somehow going to be better. So your job as an offense coordinator and head coach is to look at your best players, say, okay, what do they do really well, and what can I do to make sure that I maximize that? It's not, hey, I have a system, and I'm going to take my best player and force him to run that system. It happened with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Early on, they were having him run the system. When they moved back to what he did really well, then things took off. So that, to me, I get that they want to incorporate new things, but you need to do all the things that Lamar does really well first and then build on it. And then the idea about the added discipline. Look, I live in Cleveland, so I hear about the guy who's the new head coach, who was the offense coordinator last year. So he got promoted. He got a head coaching job. Right. So he must have been doing something right. We'll make that assumption. And then all they talk about is how disciplined he is, how tough he is, how he holds players accountable. So that's what's coming out of that training camp. This is what's coming out of this training camp. So I don't think both of them can be true. So I get it. You want to pump up the new people that are there. But most importantly, you got to make sure that Lamar is doing what Lamar does well, because he's had an incredible level of success. Use that as the starting point and then incorporate the other things.
So I view Lamar's year last year very differently than Brew does. The flip side of a lot of those graphics is he, for the first time in his career for KW, he had a losing record as a starter. I mean, the games he started, the Ravens had a losing record. He averaged fewer than 200 yards per game passing. 200 yards per game in the games he started, averaged fewer than that. He had the highest sack rate of his career, and he took so many yards in sacks, it almost wiped out all the yards he gained rushing. He lost 240 yards in sacks, and to your point, rushed for 349 and only 2 rushing touchdowns. I thought he was very good at not throwing interceptions and had a couple like 4 and 5 touchdown passing games, which to me do a lot of the work on the passer rating graphic and the touchdown interception graphic, so I think it is very fair to say last year was the worst year of Lamar's career since his rookie year. I think you'd agree with that. I think the most likely outcome is he has a bounce-back non-MVP year. But as I do very often, if you say, hey, which of these two possibilities are more likely? Lamar wins the MVP, or let's just say even finishes top 3, like has an awesome year or has another down year. I think another down year is
more likely
than MVP, yes. Because
so you just think he's falling off?
No. I said I think the most likely is he has a really solid year. I think that's the most likely. But if you were asking me, I think it's more likely, Brew, that he is on a downward trajectory than he is about to win a third MVP.
How about in the conversation?
That's right,
Justin.
Just top 3
in the mix.
Well, I mean, if in the mix is a top 8 quarterback, then no, I think then he'll be in the mix. You were about to say Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it's not the Trevor Lawrence thing.
Yeah,
but Trevor Lawrence was. I would say Trevor Lawrence was like in the mix.
Top 5 now.
Justin Herbert got a vote.
One. But I was surprised. I get what you're saying. Look, I do think there's a good chance he could win the MVP again. I don't think it's the most likely thing, but I was surprised. You said not even top 3.
Yeah, it was top 3 in MVP. Like top 3, that's how you become a finalist. That's why I said it. That's that's usually they invite the top 3 to the awards or whatever it is. I think the sack rate and the running yards and the injuries might be a bit of a canary in the coal mine of entering a different phase of his career. It might not be, but I think dismissing, and I'm not saying you're dismissing it, it would concern me in a way. Josh Allen's broken foot doesn't, because he got hurt at the end of last year and played through it, doesn't concern me as much. I also, bonus take. I'm surprised you would want him to win the MVP. Because I feel like his regular season accolade cup is already full. And the more that overflows any postseason accomplishment cup, it almost starts being a cudgel against him. There are 10 guys in the league, quarterbacks, who have won multiple MVPs. Patrick, Kurt, Steve Young, Joe Montana, and Lamar have won 2. Brady, Favre, and Unitas won 3. Rodgers 4, Peyton 5. Other than Young and Rodgers, all of those guys won a Super Bowl. Other than Young and Rodgers, all of them went to multiple Super Bowls. Again, aside from Lamar. Those 9 guys between them, 24 championships, 35 appearances. They averaged 2.5 rings and 4 appearances for their career, aside from Lamar. I don't think him joining the 3-time MVP club, before Josh gets his second, Patrick gets his third, any of those guys, is necessarily good for how he is discussed.
He's already he's already the only multiple MVP winner never to go to the Super Bowl or win it, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Both are correct.
Yeah, so he's already I don't think the answer is be mediocre in the regular season until you win a Super Bowl. Look, James Harden, we talked about Harden the other day with Jalen Brunson. And even though Brunson has been far and away better in the playoffs, we've said, I still don't put him ahead of Harden because of the regular season. I think Lamar will eventually win a Super Bowl, but if he doesn't, rack up those regular season accolades as much as you can.
How far into the season before we hear Lamar saying, I need to get back to doing what Lamar does best? We need to get back to doing
I think that's a fair question,
what we do best. Because look, this is a very young offensive coordinator with no pelts versus a guy who's got 2 MVPs. So unless this goes really well early, there's going to be some friction and growing pains here to where I can see Lamar going, hey, we need to do what I do really well.
The weird part about that, the first 6 opponents this year all had losing records last year. So it's either you're going to either start off well and maybe covering up
You got a farmer's
stuff.
If it's going to win MVP, it's got to be unseasonably warm in Baltimore. Got to avoid that seasonal.
Uruguay, Spain from Guadalajara.
Yeah.
8 p.m. tonight, 9 hours, 16 minutes and 4 seconds. Spain is on a nice 32-game unbeaten streak.
Well, sneaky, critical game for Spain.
That's what they do.
They lose, they play Argentina.
They haven't lost in years.
I'm just telling you, they lose, they play Argentina in round 1.
They're not afraid of Argentina at all. Pulisic subs on the 58th minute. Looked electric right away. Also, Dax got nutmeg, which led to the deciding Turkiye goal, and we lost.
Don't love that. Arda Güler,
Win
not
some,
happy
you
with
lose some.
Oh,
There he was
really?
after the game with Jenny Taft.
Wow.
It was amazing. I felt healthy. I felt good. So it was really nice to be back with the team. And, get some minutes. I felt good. I felt good with the ball. It was a tough way to end for us, for sure. But at the end of the day, we win the group, and we just have to look forward to next week.
All right. Did you like what you saw from Pulisic's return?
No, I don't like it. I love it.
Great.
Wow. There you go. Everybody's
love that.
Is that
Everybody's got to $7.
Maybe take a longer beat next
Sorry.
time.
I feel like I was watching Pulisic, basically, if he would have been able to play the second half against Paraguay, just pick up right where he left off from the first half that he had against Paraguay. He was sharp. He was dynamic. There was a lift instantly from the group when he came on the field. He looked like the best player, the best attacking player on our team. Part of that is because our wingers who started the game, in Brendan Aronson and Tim Weah, were so poor. And I was so disappointed in their performance that when Pulisic came on the field, he did exactly what I wanted to see. And if you guys watched the first half, it was a little chaotic there. There were some really, really hefty challenges, and I was thinking Mauricio Pochettino was going to say, we need to maybe consider this. He had the confidence to put him on the field. Yeah. He got his best player 35-ish minutes where he looked dynamic, sharp, created 3 or 4 different chances. That one right there with his left foot, it just shows that his confidence level is still very high. He looked 100% to me. That is, for all the things that came out of the game yesterday and all the conversation, that is easily the most important thing that came out of the game yesterday, that Christian Pulisic got game rhythm, got minutes, and he still looks like our best attacking player. Perfect.
I'm with you. I said a lot of that earlier. Do you think he's ready? How many minutes do you think he can go in the next game?
I think he can go 75 to 90, depending on where the game is. You have to believe that, because this is the whole reason why he decided to miss the Gold Cup.
Yeah, he can play the whole game the rest of the tournament, right?
He should absolutely be able to play 90 minutes, depending on the calf. And you get 35 minutes in your legs.
You said Wemby couldn't play long, so.
He should be fine. You get 6 days to rest and kind of ramp up again and get a lot more, I think, heavy training sessions in your legs. We need him to play 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most important game of his life, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Have some Gatorade.
But he did look like our best player.
He was incredible.
I mean, even when we have our full
No, and you can see the stuff you were talking about yesterday about just the different. If somehow you were watching the game, but everybody was just silhouettes, you would be able to tell. When Pulisic had the ball.
Yes.
I'm not putting into words quite right, but I think you understand what I mean. Just the way he moves and the way the ball stays on his
went to silhouette
feet.
mode on your TV.
Yeah, exactly right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You could just see a difference.
I do think that it is noteworthy in the highlight that we showed. He absolutely should have or could have created a goal that
Brendan Aronson should have scored.
Yes, exactly right. And I know that wasn't off a pass, that was off a shot.
It was a rebound.
But it was a rebound created by Pulisic's shot that should have created
This should have been a goal.
Right here.
Right there. That's what I was.
But you got to at least put it on target.
Yeah. And so, but that happens because of Pulisic's run down the side, and so that you did see. I have been frustrated by what I consider to be an overly cautious approach during the World Cup that we are hosting. However, ultimately, if he's fully ready to go for the knockout round, they won the group. Nothing bad came of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, whatever risk they ran is now it's eliminated, and now he's good to go.
My favorite part, actually, of the second half was, I think we have it, in the 88th minute, he actually gets kicked.
Oh, great.
Pretty hard right here.
Yeah.
I like
that he pops up. What's up now?
And then he gets up right away. He pops right back up. I mean, who knows if the kick was in the calf, but whatever. Not happy about it. Like, that's a hefty challenge. You know what I mean? And so to see him bounce back up, to see him not happy, to see him a little bit pissed off, that's awesome. Just to see the emotion that he knows, hey, man, like, don't come after me, but also I'm good. Like, that's perfect for his mentality, his health, his fitness, going in to a knockout round game against Bosnia-Herzegovina, who is going to play physical. So for him, I think mentally for him to know that he can be all right and get right back up after some physical play, that shows to me the calf is fine. He's going to be fine for Bosnia. Great news for the U.S. men's national.
Excellent. All right, more on this game at the top of the hour with Dax. We're counting down to France-Norway from Boston. Holland has at least one goal in 12 straight games.
This guy's the best.
And is the sixth player ever to score twice in each of his first 2 World Cup games.
Also, in the next segment, you will see in real time my heartbreak. That's coming.
Right in. Live from New York, it's a show that was publicly rebuked for a take on a broadcast in front of 6 million people. Not me, not Drew.
Not the show.
Certainly not Dax, but somebody.
It's coming up this segment, and when I tell you this wounded me to my core, I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Well,
they should have. I mean,
listen, I get criticized all the time. I'm pretty used to it. Very rarely are you criticized by your favorites in the world. And it's what happened to me. Sadly, they're wrong.
Second hour, first things first. Today, top 100 list from Pete Prisco, CBS Sports. Mahomes finds himself looking up at another QB who didn't make the playoffs. How should he feel, and how should Drake May feel about being number 61?
Yeah, that was pretty low.
Meanwhile, Messi preparing to play this weekend. But should he? Should he take a little break, take a little rest? We discussed, but right now we're back to LA to talk about USA Turkiye. We all bought into the momentum from 3 straight victories. That's what we talked about yesterday. Well, we ended up losing in the last second. Zlatan said it didn't matter. Coach Pochettino talked about the vibes after the game. Take a listen.
I am so positive and I am happy. Maybe I am not showing because your questions are a little bit weird, but I am so happy and the players are happy because I think we perform, we compete, and we are first. I am confused, but maybe the mood is like, or the vibes is like, we go home tonight and Turkey stay, no?
All right, Dax, are you as confident in Team USA as you were yesterday? You wanted to win.
Absolutely. I wanted to win.
He predicted a draw.
Oh, which we were all 20 seconds away from the draw. I was actually like, man, I could really use this excellent tape right now to show the guys. I'm still as confident, and I'm actually happy that occurred and that performance occurred because Mauricio Pochettino, he hedged. He hedged fully. He knew that he wasn't going to start Pulisic. He knew he wasn't going to start the 4 guys on yellow cards. And so he said, I'm going to fully rotate. I'm going to give everybody on my roster a chance with the exception of 1 or 2 guys. And guess what? If we win the game, vibes, momentum, all-time high. We create history. And now the whole group, everyone's playing well, ready for the knockout rounds. But guess what? If we lose, if we don't play well, then I rotated. I still have my health of my strongest 11. And it's actually the best thing that could have happened to the U.S. men's national team yesterday was that they experienced a little bit of adversity. Played against a very good team who put them under pressure. And I know it's not going to be the starting 11 that is going to play against Bosnia. Spoiler alert, the exact same 11, barring health in training, who started against Paraguay is going to be on the field against Bosnia. That is obvious. That is clear. But I'm glad that this team experienced a little bit of adversity because they had to respond in the second half. And they did that. And so I would have felt uneasy if the U.S. men's national team ran through the group without experiencing any issues. Does a little bit of complacency set in? Maybe. That's natural. That is natural for that to happen when you run through the group without being tested at all. The Turkiye game was always going to be the most difficult game, even though Turkiye has been very disappointing. That's still a very good team. You're going to see teams more akin to Turkiye than you are Paraguay and Australia coming up in the knockout rounds. I think that it's the best thing that could have happened to the U.S. men's national team. A little bit of humble pie, a little bit more urgency from even though the guys that are going to start that game didn't see the field, you're still going to feel a little bit more pressure. It's going to be ratcheted up against Bosnia. I'm not worried at all.
I totally agree. I'm actually more confident because, again, we almost beat maybe the second best team in our group, a top 30 team
fully
in the
rotated
world,
team
with our substitutes for the most part. And
we didn't play well in the first half.
Right.
We actually played very poor in the first half, Brew.
Yeah, so I just feel, good about the team right now. And Pulisic, we've seen him now. We hadn't really seen him but for that first half of game 1. He looked back to normal, looked as energetic and dynamic as ever. Like you said, I expect him to start, the next game. And, I don't feel like there's any reason not to be confident about this team.
I'll go back to Dax. One of the best storylines that we have when we're kicking around topics on the show is when a player gets injured, Jalen Williams for the Thunder, and A.J. Mitchell, like, oh my gosh, or Jared McCain comes out like, this guy doesn't even play that much, and he's playing amazing. Happens in football. Joe Burrow goes down. Joe Flacco throws for 500 yards. Like, oh my gosh. When the opposite happens, it doesn't feel so good.
It doesn't.
It felt like some of our subs didn't gain confidence, but maybe lost confidence where they play, goalkeeping, rough. Defense, rough. Some touches on offense, rough. Is that a fair concern? Is it fair to be concerned about the depth of the team after yesterday's performance?
I think it's absolutely fair to be concerned about the depth of the team, and I think it needs to be called out. But it has to be called out with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Most of these players haven't played in a month. Meaningful minutes in a month. There is something for game rhythm, game sharpness, and the fact that this is the first time that a bunch of these players have been on the field together in a World Cup. Okay? And so, yes, there is a very clear, if it wasn't clear before, it is clear now that the drop-off between the starting 11 that started against Paraguay, and then if you bring Pepe in with Pulisic's injury against Australia, there is a clear gap in sharpness, rhythm, quality, talent. But I think it's great that our reserve players got minutes, and they got heavy minutes under their legs, even if, yes, some of them didn't play very well, and you see that gap. That still bodes well for us in the knockout round games because I want to talk about your boy Gio Reyna.
I was about to.
He has proven time and time again with the U.S. men's national team that he can be a difference maker, mostly off the bench.
Yeah.
That is where I think he will thrive. He started the game. He didn't play very well. The wingers didn't play very well. Pepe was a little bit of a ghost. That's fine. We have players in those positions that are going to start and play heavy minutes. Gio Reyna coming off the bench to create a moment of magic if we need it. I think that's his role. I think that's where he thrives. Center back, different picture entirely. A little bit concerned if anything happens to Tim Ream or Chris Richards.
Okay.
So I am maybe just a touch less happy with the gut punch loss in the final minute than everyone else.
I'm not happy about it.
I understand that there are positives to be drawn, and I even wrote, glass half full, maybe we would have gotten a little too confident. Maybe if the game went the way it was going to look, like when we scored 2 minutes in, I thought it was on the board. And credit to Turkiye for the athletic character of, we're not going out like
it looked like a multi-goal win after 5 minutes for the U.S.
Yes.
Turkiye was like, we're already on the plane.
Yeah, and they dug deep, and then
they wanted it.
And so, and good for them that they get to go home they're obviously devastated, but with something, it's not a total catastrophe, this World Cup. But I do think that Pochettino's a good enough manager, and I think that this team is a veteran team,
experienced enough,
that even if they had won, they weren't going to be like, well, we're on easy street. And so so I'm going to assume that a win they would have handled that success well. With that said, we've talked about Pulisic playing, how important that was. Brew made the point of no injuries, and we knew they were going to remove any of the yellow card concern by not playing those guys. So all of those things are positives. The biggest positive that I can find from something that I didn't want to happen at any point during the game, them losing, is the reminder of, and I know these aren't our starting guys, we aren't good enough against Bosnia or against anyone left in this tournament to not be fully dialed and full go for any moment of the game. Like, it felt to me in that first half, you can tell me if I'm wrong, that after they scored that opening goal, they thought it was going to be easy. And the rest of that first half, they did not. They didn't have any real attacking chances, and defensively they were a mess. And maybe that is a reminder of, for the guys watching it, how thin the margins are going to be the rest of the tournament. The other thing that I don't want to draw too much from this game because it's not our regular players, but it was my feeling in the previous 2 games as well. This is the first time that I can remember a U.S. men's national team where I feel like we are more likely to win a game 3-2 than 1-0. And so that's and again, this game, we lost 3-2. But it feels like our biggest strength is going to be in our attacking players and our ability to actually score goals, while I don't think we have a real likely chance maybe against Bosnia, but any game after Bosnia, of shutting a team out. That we're going to have to win by scoring multiple goals.
When Chris Richards, like you said, when Chris Richards is back there, I feel very confident.
Our entire starting back line is a level above the guys that came in to replace them.
But we've had your point going into the Australia game. Going into the Australia game, we had 1 shutout in the previous 13 games. Like it's not like, I'm not saying that Freeze is not a good goalkeeper, and I'm not saying that the back line's not good, but I just don't think we are. Typically in my experience watching the U.S. men's national team in the World Cup, it's like, man, if we can just hold them to nothing and then have one good set piece chance and steal a win, that doesn't feel like that's this team at all.
Okay, buckle up for this. Japan will meet Brazil in the round of 32 on Monday on Fox. Now, during yesterday's game, the broadcast addressed some people on television who are overly enthusiastic about Brazil's chances to win the World Cup. Here's Darren Fletcher.
I disagree with a lot of the narrative I saw on the television today that people are telling me that Brazil is starting to look like a team that can win the World Cup. I think this is one of the worst Brazilian teams I've seen in a World Cup finals for quite some time. I just don't get it.
But I'm not sure there's much in it between playing Brazil and Morocco, Fletcher. But so pick your poison, really.
I mean, I watched them against the Scots, and I know Vinicius Junior did quite well, but I'm looking at the rest of it, and it looks like a work in progress still for Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, they've definitely got a few more gears to go. I think Brazil were so used to those brilliant fullbacks they've always had in the past. They don't really have that anymore. Do have Carlo Ancelotti, though.
And we think that was directed at you. We're not 100% positive, but we think that was.
We're 99%.
Yeah, I'm probably about 95.
About 6 hours before those words were uttered, I'm going to tell you some words that I uttered in this studio, talking to my guy Josh, who happens to be our stats guy, but also our diehard soccer Arsenal fan on the show was talking about how of all the broadcast crews in the World Cup, Darren Fletcher and Owen Hargreaves are my favorite because they are paired together on Champions League, on TNT. They've worked together forever. I think the duos have been great. I think they are the best. So to hear those guys, to attack me is one thing. That's fine. But to be that wrong, the worst Brazil team you've seen in the World Cup, to then just throw in at the end, well, yeah, they have Carlo Ancelotti. Okay, yeah. And what do Carlo Ancelotti teams do other than win tournaments? The most Champions League wins ever, Carlo Ancelotti. And win tournaments with Brazilians. Win Champions League headed by Kaká, or win it with Vini Jr., or win it with Casemiro or Marcelo. They get better as the tournament goes on. That's what they've always done. And then there's also this. Brazil has had a far tougher than average group and path to this point. And yet, so how are their numbers? What do the stats look like? We can show it to you. Does this look like one of the best teams in the tournament? Gosh, there we go. Well, they're tied for the best in goal differential. They're tied for second in shutouts. They're tied for third in big chances. Well, are they a one-man team the way it looks like offensively Argentina has been or Norway and Holland have been? No, actually not. While Vini has 4 goals, they got another guy with 3 in Cunha, and that was one of the biggest concerns because of the injuries. Yep. And so I'm not sure at this point what more people would have wanted to see from Brazil.
How difficult was this group just because they had Morocco in it?
Okay, well, that's a third of it, right?
Okay, so, but the other third is like they also played Haiti, which was the first team eliminated in the entire World Cup.
Well, that was, hold on, the first team eliminated means nothing. That was they were first
team. They were the first team out. They were like, Haiti's been eliminated.
I understand, KW, but what I'm saying is that's because of the order the games are played. There were a lot of teams that lost their first 2 games. But they show you there's 12 groups. They power ranked the groups. This was considered going into the tournament the 4th most difficult group. So if you can, we know the groups, we've seen it. Is there a group that doesn't have a Haiti adjacent team that's going to finish last? I'm not sure. Actually, the argument would be the U.S. group doesn't have it, but in expense of that, they have no teams in the top 15. The Brazilian group had 2 teams in the top 6. I'm not sure who, the question I have is this. Through the group stage, whose resume, what they've done on the field looks clearly better than what Brazil has done? I mean, you can argue Argentina. They have 1 game left to play. Argentina has played Haiti twice, essentially, in this tournament. And so we can, tell me, I would like to know, I thought France played such a bad first half of their first game. You got Landon saying, and they've only played 3 halves since then. Like, who is the team that has, start to finish? Spain, no, they tied Cape Verde. Germany, no, they lost yesterday. Who is the team that we're like, okay, that team, not what we thought they were going to be, but their performance has clearly been better than Brazil's? I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it.
That analysis, I agree with you about Darren Fletcher and Owen Hargreaves. I absolutely think they're a top duo at this World Cup. That analysis felt overly critical because I was on that same page before this tournament started, but I think it's unfair to over-index or overstate some of these results against weaker opposition because every big team has faced weaker opposition in the group stage. And Brazil, since they played against Morocco, has looked very good and done what they needed to do. And Ancelotti's tactical adjustment has made me more of a believer that, yes, can they go win the World Cup? Yeah, they can go win the World Cup. They have one of the best attackers in the tournament. They have a striker who's playing well. They have a great coach. And their back line is rock solid. So I think that was a little bit overboard from those guys to talk about Brazil in that way. But I think another part of their mentality, where they're coming from, is this is not the same Brazil of yesteryear. This is not the same Brazil that plays with the same flair and dominant attacking displays that we are used to. Again, 4 of the 7 goals Brazil have scored have come off ridiculous mistakes, turnovers, overplaying out of the back from Haiti and from Scotland, 2 of the weaker teams in the tournament. When you get to the knockout rounds, when you play against better teams, that is not going to happen. But I think that Brazil, playing against one of these better teams, when they played against Morocco was the better team. I actually thought Morocco should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
So when they play against an opposition where they're not going to take advantage of poor mistakes, I still think that they are a little bit pedestrian in everything that they do. And I think they're going to struggle when they play against a team that's going to dominate possession.
I mean, listen, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I do think that Brazil's history is weighing into what Fletcher said.
Yes.
You know, like he said it's one of the worst Brazilian teams I've seen. Well, obviously they've had some phenomenal teams. I just think he's grading them on a super high bar.
He's going to compare them to their past.
Yes, but they've looked as good. I mean, you even brought up France struggling at one point, Nick, but I think outside of France and Argentina, like I said yesterday, you could put Brazil right there with anybody else, Spain, at least so far. And so I have to believe he's just judging them based on the history of the country.
You think I'm crazy on this, KW?
I just haven't been blown away, and I don't think that's necessarily a.
And I just don't. And my question is, then who is the team you've been blown away by, and are we not going to do the same? Because you didn't. Brazil.
I think Germany scoring 7 goals was like, oh, Germany. They're here to score 7 goals. I think Team USA has played scoring immediately every game has been impressive. I think Messi scoring 5 goals has been impressive.
So the only time I have heard on this show who they played come up has been Brazil. Scotland, which is a decidedly average third place team. Like if you take all the third place,
they're actually probably going to be eliminated.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is if we took all 12 groups and said who's the third best team in the group, Scotland is right in line with middle of the road.
But the group is only had. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the.
Scotland is Scotland's either going to be the last third place team in or the first third place team out. But that is not. That is because Brazil kicked their ass. If Scotland had been able to play Brazil to a 1-0 loss, they'd be advancing. But because Brazil annihilated them, they were out. Like, I don't. And the reason Haiti was the first team eliminated is because Haiti's first 2 games, they played Morocco and Brazil, and so they're dead. Like, that's not. Haiti is not decidedly worse than Uzbekistan or than any of the. What?
I don't think we should spend too much time debating Haiti versus
their first game against Morocco didn't concern you a little bit?
I thought the first half of the first game they came out flat and they ended up drawing with one of a team that absolutely can win the tournament and was in the semifinals last year. Sure. And I think that is, for some reason, cast a heavy shadow over how good they can be.
Is Mahomes still a top 3 quarterback? Not according. Well, is he a top 3 in this list? Stand by.
I believe
he was fourth. It was Stafford, Allen,
I'm sorry. We are also counting down to Norway, France, 3 hours, 37 minutes, and 5 seconds from Boston. Welcome back to First Things First. Yamal getting ready to take on Uruguay, 8 hours and 33 minutes. He's obviously a superstar, scored last game. Defense also stellar. Spain has yet to allow a goal this World Cup.
Must not lose for Spain.
Bruce picked to win it all. They haven't lost in years, really. They're feeling confident.
Fairly.
Fairly?
Yep. Fairly. I'm just keeping an even keel.
Nobody wants Spain to lose this game because if they lose this game, it means either them or Argentina are going home in the round of 32.
I like a nice round of 32.
Let them meet later.
Well, then Morocco, Netherlands is enough for that. We don't need 2 of those games.
Pete Prisco of CBS Sports released his top 100 list. At the top, Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett at 1. That makes sense. Best Defensive Player in the Year. Number 2, the MVP, Matthew Stafford. So far, so good. MVP runner-up, Drake May. Maybe it's 3 or 4, I would say, since there are actual awards for it. Turns out, not so much. 3 was Josh Allen. Fine, he's a great player. 4, Jamar Chase, another great player. Drake May, 7, 9, 15, 26, 38, 50. Nope. 61. 61st best player in the league. Was in the Super Bowl. Poor Sam.
Where was Darnold?
Darnold's behind. The results don't matter. The results do. Sorry, that's my take. Coach, time for the return of our favorite segment. Hey! What's going on? Drake Maye ranked 61. I think the official question is, should I have an issue with this?
Well, I struggled figuring out how this list worked because Stafford last year wasn't on the list, and now he's number one. And then you saw, Drake Maye wasn't on the list, so at least he's on the list this year.
Yeah.
Made it to 61, so that's real progress. And then Mahomes and other guys Joe Burrow, guys that coming off seasons that not great.
Yeah.
They're a lot higher than you'd expect them to be. So it's a little bit. Is it just looking back at last year where they finished? Is that how he's evaluating? Is he projecting into next year? To me, it seems like.
I think if you ask Pete, he'd call it a rich tapestry.
Well, yeah, it's a rich tapestry. I think the tapestry is based on whatever he's seen most recently. Is how they're being evaluated. And I think
is not going to like this.
Well, no, but I think that's what killed Drake Maye in this evaluation. If he had just say he had gotten dinged up by the end of the season, he'd probably be in the top 10. But because he played in the playoffs, that to me really hurt his evaluation. And look, there's some fairness to this. If you look at his production in the regular season versus production in the playoffs, it's a dramatic decline in every single category, with the sacks are a problem in the regular season, but then we had that number, which was the third highest sack percentage in the history of playoffs.
Playoff completion percentage, Caleb S.
Yeah,
it was a snowstorm. Caleb S. That is a great. I will use that 100 times this year. I'll use that 100 times. My goodness, he regressed back to prime Caleb Williams.
The amount of times he put the ball on the ground, that was an issue.
That was an issue.
There are a lot of things. So I see this as Pete was looking at what happened in the playoffs. That dramatically affected the way that he evaluated Drake Maye, where other guys got graded up because their numbers were incomplete. They got hurt when they were playing pretty well, so they stayed.
Or they had a bigger history. I think what's pretty clear from Pete's rankings is he is building in a lot, unless he thinks you're a declining player, like a historical bump. We'll talk about Mahomes in a bit. Mahomes, Burrow, the guys who are established. Lamar was a good ranking as well after a bad year. Established superstar quarterbacks.
Look, it's hard to compare the position players and quarterbacks. So I looked at it more as where did he rank with quarterbacks?
Yeah.
He was 9th. Now, obviously, the big 5, that we always talk about, including Stafford, was ahead of him. And then Dak, Jordan Love, and Goff. Yep. So you can argue that. But I think in this list, he clearly, in addition to what you were saying, Coach, because he saw him play against playoff level competition and struggle, he also looked at, I think he put a lot of it into, they had a historically bad schedule. And Drake put up great numbers against this terrible schedule. And once he started meeting good teams, you saw him struggle. So, and then I also think he may have looked at, we've seen a lot of young quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, have a great year and then kind of fall off. So I think he worked all of that in. So putting him 9th among quarterbacks, I don't think is that big of a slight. It doesn't sound as bad as 61st on the list overall.
Yeah, the 61st is absurd, and I don't know how you're supposed to compare him to
Penei Sewell.
Yeah, I don't know. Right. Would I trade Drake Maye for Penei Sewell?
So just amongst quarterbacks.
Amongst quarterbacks, I understand the argument that Drake Maye did not play Drake Maye-esque in the playoffs. Now, granted, he did throw 3 touchdowns against the Houston Texans, who going into the playoffs were basically the 85 Bears. But after the playoffs, what are the Houston Texans anymore? And he did go to the Super Bowl, which was kind of nice in his second year. But I do want to list the guys who did better in the playoffs and put up better numbers. No interceptions, never sacked, no negative plays like Goff, Mahomes, Lamar, Dak, and Joe Burrow. Played perfect games. They're never a negative play. So I understand him being behind them. But overall.
Hold on.
But again, are we projecting out to next season, or are we just looking at what happened last season? Jared Goff had a pretty good season last year. When you look at his numbers were impressive, and he was significantly down the list too.
Yeah, you didn't include Goff on your list. That's a guy who threw no picks in the playoffs.
Goff right here.
Oh, you said Goff?
No, he said Goff.
Also, I'm just a raw wins guy. I like winning football
Where
games.
should Darnold have been?
Darnold should be, you know where I think Darnold should be? I will make an asterisk right behind or slightly behind Matthew Stafford.
So the second quarterback.
I mean, what are we doing?
Darnold
What's
should be
the
ahead
point?
of Josh Allen on the list.
It is a team.
He should be up there.
Patrick Mahomes should be 61st because of how poorly he played and how bad their record was.
This is the challenge of it all. What's the point of the quarterback? Put up big numbers and win the Super Bowl. What Sam Darnold's like? What'd you do this year? Like, well, I put up big numbers and won the Super Bowl.
Wait a second. Wait, hold on. I think I'm very curious then what your take is going to be on the next thing we talk about, because I don't think that anybody feels any of these lists, unless the list is, I am rating the 100 best seasons of 2025, that the lists are in a vacuum. Right. That where none of what you have accomplished historically as far as winning Super Bowls and winning games should matter. Count. And so I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I tried to get in your head because the question's about how you should feel. That if, forget number 61, to Brew's point about the quarterback, just list of quarterbacks. If he was 6th on this, behind, in whatever order, Patrick, Josh, Stafford, Lamar, and Burrow, I don't think you'd have been mad. You'd have maybe taken issue with Burrow.
Probably a little bit of Burrow.
Okay. So, but you wouldn't
have taken issue. But if you have an MVP, sure.
Well,
if you've won the Super Bowl, okay, that makes sense. What has Jordan Love done?
No, the Jordan
Love
thing I knew was going to make you mad.
I don't know what
May had a better
argument you can make.
So that part I agree with you on. I think that the Burrow versus, to me, going into this coming season, the top, it is, I know we always say like a big 4 or big 5 or whatever. I think the best 4 quarterbacks in football going into this season are Patrick, Josh, Lamar, and Stafford. And the reason I'm saying top 4 is because I think there is a very fair argument between Drake and Burrow, who are, to me, a pretty clear top 6. But you can, debate those two. And I was guessing that Jordan Love was going to be the one that you were like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. And that seems, I think that's fair. I think it's fair to say.
There was a lot of rear view mirror in this power ranking. Here's where Mahomes ranked. Pete Prisco saying his numbers haven't been as good as they were early in his career, but he's still one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the league. Don't let the numbers fool you. He was 7 overall, and he had 3 QBs ahead of him, Stafford, Allen, and Burrow. Did you have an issue with that?
Having Joe Burrow ranked ahead of Patrick Mahomes on any quarterback list is an unacceptable opinion. The Stafford, he just won MVP, so be it. Josh Allen is, there's no injury concerns because he never misses games. He's consistently productive. Now, Patrick clocks him in the playoffs every year, but Patrick missed the playoffs last year, so I'm not going to say Josh having the 4-turnover playoff game is worse than Patrick missing the playoffs. And so like that, it's not how I would have it ranked, but that's fine. Patrick tore his ACL last year and played more games than Joe Burrow did. Patrick has won 2 league MVPs. Joe's won none. Patrick's been to 5 Super Bowls. Joe's been to 1. Patrick's won 3. Joe's won 0. Patrick's overall historical numbers far outstrip Joe Burrow's, and the recent numbers when Burrow's had this statistical explosion have not coincided with the team winning. And so I'll
give you another one.
What?
Number 4 on the list is his wide receiver, Jamar Chase.
Well, so listen, I am not. Do I think that if we did like a team switch thing, that Burrow would have put up these epic numbers over the last couple of years with the Chiefs?
Their receiver.
No, and do I think Patrick would have with the Bengals? Yes. Do I also think that if you put Burrow on the Chiefs the last few years, last year obviously was a disaster, but the 2 years prior they won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl, that he would have found a way with very oddly, configured offensive skill position to be as successful as Patrick? No. Like, I think Patrick behind Burrow is outrageous. On anybody's list. I think it's
very interesting to see how this year goes and how much resume accolades we are still ascribing to guys. We're like, don't look at their numbers. Granted, it's been
like Mahomes.
3 years of mediocre numbers for Mahomes.
But I think it's going to be based on their winning. If they win 13, 14 games, and he still is around that 93-ish passer rating, I mean, you'll be like, hey, he's winning.
I think that next offseason we need a Nick Wright top 100. I mean, Nick, you do such a good job with lists.
Thanks.
I think
we were going to do it this year, but World Cup.
I would lobby for that, and because there would be very clear sort of guidelines as to how you got to places, which I think is
it's usually
it's a tapestry, but there'd be some things that we could follow up on. And to Nick's point, it's who would you draft going into next, or who would you want to start a team with going into next season, or who would you want to be your quarterback going next season? And for me, it would be Patrick Mahomes, even coming off the injury. And you have to give Patrick some grace. It was 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's
right.
Unheard of in recent times, and the level of success and the variety of people that he's been able to win with. And so he has the one down season. And with Joe, there's been a lot of great things. But it's always he gets graded up because he's not playing, as opposed to getting graded down because he's not playing.
And I also, the only thing you said there, KW, was I think Patrick would take more of a hit for the mediocre statistical regular seasons the last 3 years if the 2 years prior to this one, he hadn't instantly gone back to Mahomes level stats in the playoffs. It's not just that they were winning winning Super Bowls and going to the Super Bowl. It was that his numbers were exceptional in those playoff games, and he was in every game except for the one against Jalen Hurts, thoroughly outplaying the loss against Hurts, thoroughly outplaying the opposing quarterback.
Yeah, I mean the Jalen Hurts.
That's the level of difficulty too.
That's
Super
where you
Bowl
wonder
3 years in a row.
Yeah, how do you weigh
hard.
regular season versus playoffs?
Where was Hurts
and all these guys?
Hurts was way down. He was 84th. Like, we care about winning Super Bowls. They literally won the Super Bowl. Okay, fifth meeting between Mbappe and Haaland, all in Champions League. They meet again in 3 hours and 19 minutes. Haaland scored 5 goals. Mbappe only scored once, but his team has won 3 of the last 4 against Haaland squads. Welcome back to First Things First. Erling Haaland, show fave. Oh, we're rowing. Norway, France, on Fox in 3 hours and 15 minutes from Boston.
These guys have been great. Their fans have been great. What? What, KW? You don't like it? Because you
didn't say anything.
No, you gave a look.
I love the rowing. I love the rowing. Been seeing a lot of rowing.
It's been fun.
It's been a blast. I got a little rowing fatigue.
He's got rowing fatigue.
France just shows up and wins games.
KW hates fun.
It's a little bit.
This guy couldn't hear enough about the Tartan Army's drinking problem. And now
Tartan Army
they lose to Brazil, and now that you don't care about
Army. Used to put the ball in the net. Argentina, Jordan headlines this weekend's slate of games. Messi scored all 5 of Argentina's goals. Also just celebrated his 39th birthday and could probably use the rest. That being said, he is favored to score a goal against Jordan. How important is it for Messi to play when balancing rest and chasing the Golden Boot?
You asking me this question, I would say absolutely rest him. But Lionel Messi does not rest. Covered him plenty in Major League Soccer, and I've always made the argument if they have a midweek game or if they're blowing a team out 5-0 or even losing, at times it has happened to Inter Miami that they've lost 3-1, 4-1. I have said you need to manufacture time to get him rest at his age with the amount of times that he has to sprint. He refuses. He has actually come out and said that he feels like he has more rhythm when he plays more. So Messi won't rest. I believe he'll be on the field. It's this interesting dichotomy between what the U.S. did and Pochettino did, rotating everyone, and what Germany did, where they played majority of the team that has played the first 2 games. This is a case-by-case basis. Every coach will do something different. I think that you are going to get Lionel Messi looking at a Jordan team that is clearly overmatched, that he's going to say, I want to play at least 60 minutes. I want to continue to fight for this Golden Boot because while I think, and a lot of people think, maybe he can still play in another World Cup, it stands to reason that logic would tell you this is probably his last World Cup, and he does not want to give any moment to be on the field away.
Which I understand. I agree. I think rest would be more important, but I understand him wanting to go for it. You know, and especially if this is his last World Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he thinks about the GOAT conversation. Ronaldo has a Golden Boot. Messi obviously doesn't. Mbappe, who will be in the GOAT conversation at some point, he won the last Golden Boot. No one's won 2. So, and Mbappe's in the running for this one. So, again, if Messi calculates things like that, then these are reasons you want to play. And like you said, Jordan, you figure, man, I can get a brace or maybe another hat trick, whatever.
He'll never say it publicly, but you know he wants
Of
that.
course.
Yeah.
And
I don't blame him. I'm not mad at him.
And
so,
it's,
Go ahead
you know when's a good time to rest? Literally any time other than the World Cup.
What about when you're almost 40?
No, he doesn't want to. That's first of all. Second of all, you're talking about the Golden Boot. There's that. There is also, I am the only person that is not willing to say with 100% confidence that Mbappe one day is beating Messi's record. I think he's the favorite to finish as the World Cup's all-time leading goal scorer. But here's a scenario for you. Messi adds 3 more today, right? France wins a 1-0 game against Norway is fine. And then in a game that they will be the favorite, but certainly can lose, France gets knocked out in the round of 16 to Germany in this year's tournament, and Messi adds a few more goals. Next World Cup's 4 years from now, and Mbappe, it's unbelievable. Mbappe has a tweaked hamstring and is not in that World Cup. And then all of a sudden, now you have a 36-year-old Mbappe 8 years from now, and he's 6 goals behind Leo Messi going into that tournament.
Messi's not ruling out playing.
Say it again. And by the way, and Messi, by the way, is like, I might add a couple in next year's. When you are trying to be the greatest in the history of the world at something, or you already are, you want every opportunity. And little added bonus for Messi. I think he has elevated to a level of historic great that there's almost a level of competitive deference from overmatched opponents. Where I think
they pay him too much.
I think he's the least likely guy to get unlucky injured. I want to not, I don't want the where I just don't think the eliminated Jordan players are going to be like, we're going to show him. And so, for all those reasons, he should play and be awesome because that's what he wants to do.
Can I add to that same theory? I'll take a slightly different direction. And this was a little bit, I think it's a quote from Jordan on like why he would play. And there was like, this might be your only chance to see Michael Jordan.
Yeah, the fans.
He is on such a like real GOAT level.
Yeah.
I think that he recognizes like, I'll play for you.
Yeah.
And obviously I want to be the GOAT and we want Argentina to win, but I almost have a responsibility to the sport, the world, that like you get to see me do my thing.
And he's spoken a lot about how he doesn't know when it's going to come to an end, but he's much closer to the back nine than he is the front nine. And so when you have these moments and these opportunities, you ask him, he's fit, he's healthy, he's going to put himself on the field. Scaloni, even if he wants to get him rest, nope, it's not happening.
It's kind of awesome.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a competitive monster.